This tier 8 premium was rewarded to everyone who took part in the June community event, and in order to actually take part in the event and receive this as a premium tank, all you had to do was be able to get 35 points out of millions of points that were earned throughout the community. And so pretty much anyone that's been playing the game over the last month or so has basically got this tank for free. So I think now is probably one of the best times to take a look at the Huntsman Centurion, the tier 8 kind of British medium tank that was handed out. Of course, some people probably already had this vehicle as it was part of some of the seasons and some of the rewards that we've had previously, and so you would have got silver like me into your account, which should be about 3.8 million off the top of my head for a tier 8 medium premium vehicle that you already own. But the Huntsman Centurion, what's special about it? Why should you not just let it sit in your garage and actually take this thing out for a spin? Well, the main thing about it is that it is very, very powerful when you do use it properly, because of the fact that it is a very well-rounded medium tank that has almost everything that you could really need from a medium tank. Not only does it get fantastic view range, it gets pretty decent health points. It is decently fast, it has good DPM, it's nothing outrageous but it's very good. Its armor model is actually pretty decent for a medium vehicle. You can see here it's the upgraded Centurion turret armor that you see with the Centurions now. Previously it was much worse when Centurions weren't updated and basically buffed. Wargaming had the turret much weaker in the past, and I'm talking about years ago, but of course with the buffs and stuff like that, if you haven't played Centurions recently within the last couple of years, yeah, they are significantly better. And so the HMH Huntsman Centurion obviously gets all of what we've talked about so far. It also gets a brilliant accuracy of 0.26 when I've equipped it how we've done, and we'll look at what we've actually added to this tank to make it that. And we've got 10 degrees of gun depression as well, which allow you to be very, very flexible on ridge lines. So combine all of these things together, there is no one real aspect about this tank that is bad, which is really nice. And although some aspects of the tank could be better, things like the damage per minute, it isn't the highest for sure as a tier 8 medium with 230 damage. It is still very, very good. And yeah, I feel like it is just a general, such a good all-round vehicle that I think you should try out. And of course it gets additional bonus silver every single game, and it isn't just your standard silver that you'll get 155% with this, which is 5% more than what you normally would get from premium vehicles as a standard. Of course you can get higher, but you can get considerably lower of 150% with most tier 8 premiums that are released. There's only real special ones that come out that get higher than 150%. So with that being said, obviously you can earn quite a bit of silver with this tank, and that's mainly not only down to the fact that you get increased silver potential with this tank, but also that the standard round penetration is actually pretty good. 226 is nothing to scoff at. And of course then when you've got your premium rounds, which I don't take that many of, you go up to 258, which for tier 8 is fine. There are some situations where maybe it becomes a little bit annoying, but because your accuracy is so good with this tank, you can basically pinpoint weak points so easily with this vehicle that it really doesn't become a problem whatsoever. And so yeah, that is kind of how this tank plays. It's a well-rounded vehicle. It is quite large, as with all of the British mediums that take the Centurion or the kind of Chieftain playstyle, Conquerors, that sort of stuff. They're all very large vehicles comparatively to something like you would see with the Soviet medium tanks. But of course you get all of the advantages of having the gun depression, armor, and generally a better gun overall. So with that being said, how have we set up the tank? We have slotted in advanced optics, loader, and improved ventilation. There is no need for gun stabilizer in this tank. Its accuracy is beyond good, and so adding to accuracy isn't really going to make as much of a difference. Of course, the one equipment slot that I would kind of recommend that you experiment with if you're interested in swapping out some of these would be improved ventilation. It offers the the less useful benefits out of the both advanced optics and loader. But of course that increases your reload, which is nice because the DPM, as I said before, is not the most insane with this tank. So Huntsman Centurion rundown through. Let's actually have a look at what the tank can do in game, because it is very surprising. And so the first game that we do have is on Serene Coast. We've got 2 games for you today, so hopefully you get a good grip of how to handle this tank. And of course, if you're coming up against it, I'll offer some kind of advice as to how you can take this thing out if you do see it, and some of the key weaknesses of this tank, which you can probably tell is the size of it. So first things first, the size. Of course, when you do have such a big vehicle with armor on the side that isn't particularly very good, and hull armor that yet again isn't particularly very good, you can of course try and focus that kind of armor instead and try and have a much better time of playing. So obviously you're seeing me here trying to take a bit more of a forward stance. With this tank, it is like a very, very good kind of support vehicle, because your reload's really quick, you do have good DPM, and of course you're able to kind of be very accurate where you can knock people's tracks off and stuff like that. And just in general, it works really well playing with another heavy tank or playing with some other vehicles that you can kind of find out. Anyway, you can see here we've pushed up. We're trying to get into that kind of frontal area, and we're just going to try and rinse the hit points off of this KV4 and just get as much damage as possible before he gets taken out. We get hit and YOLO'd kind of by an SU-130 PM. I'm surprised he moved up that much. But don't worry, we'll try and get a bit of revenge on him later on. Here is a Dreadnought, but we're not going to bother with him since it's a side-on IS-3, and hopefully we can poke this IS-3 without being hit by the Dreadnought. You saw a round come in there, so that means that the Dreadnought has most likely fired and he's pulled back behind the ridge. This is where the standard pen probably isn't the best, is like, you know, if you don't fully aim or you're in this kind of very quick situation where you do have to aim 100%, the lower penetration allows you to essentially add the chance of bouncing. Now obviously if you don't want that, you can just essentially load full premium, and regardless of the IS-3's angle, you'll probably pen him anyway straight through the turret. But you can see me here just trying to get a shot on the Dreadnought, but just as we go for the shot, he then turns and we end up bouncing off of him. But pushing here would be a bit risky because we could get hit by the Dreadnought, or maybe he finds an angle on us or something, or maybe the SU-130 PM is just on too many hit points for us to deal with. We bounce off the Dreadnought again, which is not ideal, but we pull back behind, get another shot into him, and we're up to 2.6k damage. Seems very easy, right? And that's because this tank is really just a great all-round force. You can see me here just putting one into the SU. I went for the track, but I was surprised that we actually penned him and dealt damage there, but I just wanted to delay him that extra bit of time where we'd be able to reload just a little bit more. We put another one into him, and luckily the team support me and take him out, which is brilliant. Obviously we could have got taken out there if we were left alone, because the SU probably would have reloaded just before when we did, so we may have had the opportunity of being taken out, but that's fine. We now find ourselves a Schmiel who's out in the open, so we'll plop one round into him, and we can now start pushing towards the rest of the opponents in the game with not that much opponents left. So obviously looks like we're going to win this game for sure. I'll pop around this corner, put one into the Carnarvon. Now I am on a low hit point, so I don't know if someone else could get a shot onto me, so I'm a little bit more careful than maybe you could be, but with that in mind, we find ourselves a T-34-3 who we put one into. Can we get another one into him? Please, please. Not quite. And that is where the DPM kind of lets you down just that little bit. So yeah, just be aware that sometimes it can be a little bit painful, but by no means is it the DPM bad. It's just not the pinnacle that you'll see from some of the tier 8 mediums, but you can make up for that with the accuracy. Like I said, is just very, very good. For some reason, T-32 at the end there was firing HE, which allows us to pick up an extra shot and basically not have the ability to be taken out, which is brilliant. And we pick up nearly 4,000 damage, 1800 base XP, 3 enemies taken out, top of the game with the MVP. And yeah, a very, very decent game in the HMH Huntsman Centurion, showcasing what this tank can do. And with a ×2 silver boost, we made 257,000 silver in that game, which is great because, you know me, having to buy all of the tanks and review them, put equipment on them, it's very expensive. But let's have a look at the next game, which of course, if you were paying attention, this was the very next game, is Pearl River. And this map is actually a pretty decent one for this vehicle. But what we have with this map in particular is there's quite a few light tanks in this game. But we are top tier by the looks of things, so we're able to kind of at least play a little bit more aggressively within this game. And there's a few things that I did wrong in this game, which is why I wanted to showcase it, because, you know, not everything goes optimally all of the time, but equally we still have a good result at the end anyway. So yeah, don't quite know what my aim was there, but okay, well done for absolutely firing into a rock. That's a great idea. But we put one into him. There's no point in me chasing him down because maybe he's going to his teammates. We're not entirely sure. So I'm not going to chase him down for the sake of a little bit of hit points, because you never know, there could be something big back there and we could get hit for it. So we're going to move into the middle and take the stronger position within this game and see what we can do. So with only 200 damage done and not really anyone contesting the middle, it opens this game really wide open. And if you don't contest the middle mostly within Pearl River, you're usually going to lose the game. Because essentially you can just then go right back behind people, you can find people out, you can essentially get behind them, you can pincer maneuver them, and yeah, you can just bust flanks wide open, which is always good. But you can see me here just trying to get some shots on this light tank who has plopped himself down, and we get one into him. There's a VK over there. Can we get another one into this guy? No, we can't, but for some reason my old man reactions has decided that I'm not actually going to hit him. But you can see here just a little minuscule shot that we can get on the old IS here. We're going to go for another one, but of course it misses, and then we're going to reload. And this is where it's nice to have that good kind of reload, where it's quite short but enough damage that you're not having to constantly be in engagements when, you know, you're trying to get damage overall. So we take that guy out, and now we can kind of move on and try and find some other people. Getting a little bit of spotting damage. As I said, the view range in this tank, very, very good. Like, actually ridiculous for a medium at this tier. Nearly 530 meters, which is, yeah, insane for a medium. But now we can kind of push forward and start doing something else, and that's kind of where the flexibility of this tank is quite good. As I said before, you can start moving around, you can play hold down, you can get into a location and focus people down. The one weakness is that if someone catches your side and they lock you down in position, you are losing your hit points quite quickly, because the side armor is garbage, and for the most part, if you're exposing your side armor, you're probably not in the best spot either way. Now we do miss a shot on the VK where we could have got damage, and it's unlikely we get one more shot into him. Someone's firing HE for some unbeknownst reason at a VK. Not quite sure why you would do that, but we pick up the enemy anyway and push forward with 3,000 combined damage done so far, with 2.3k actual damage done. So nothing incredible in this game, and in fact we probably played a little bit too passively. I probably didn't realise just how few tier 8s were in this game that were that competitive, that could probably deal with me in the game. So if we played a little bit more aggressively, we probably would have got more damage overall. But we push now towards the T150 and go for the ram. Why not? Let's get the extra bit of, I guess, influence within the game. There you go. 2,679 damage. Not a spectacular damage result. We picked up 6 enemies in the game and could have definitely done more. But of course, you do have to be quite careful. And if you expose yourself in this tank, almost certainly your hull armor is going to be exposed and you're going to take a lot of shells. But make use of that by getting hull down and firing off as many shots as you possibly can to mitigate that. So hopefully this video showcased the tank, some of the weak points, as well as actual how to play the vehicle and the sorts of spots you can go to and contest, and it really is a great all-rounder. There's not too many spots it can't use, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like it and check out this video if you want to watch some more. Thank you and goodbye.